In his Yoga Sutras, Patanjali describes an extraordinary sequence of 8 spiritual practices known as angas, or limbs, that are meant to lead you step by step to attain the state of Samadhi, the ultimate goal of yogic meditation. We'll discuss those angas here, largely from the standpoint of modern psychology, to make Patanjali's profound ancient teachings easier to grasp. In the previous part of the series, we've already discussed the first 4 angas: yama, prohibitions; niyama, injunctions; asana, posture; and pranayama, breath control. These 4 angas are called bahiranga sadhana, or external practices, because they involve matters external to your mind. Yama and niyama address your actions, your behavior. Asana and pranayama address your posture and breathing, respectively. The final 4 angas are called antaranga sadhana, internal practices, because they directly concern your mind. These angas are pratyahara, sense withdrawal; dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and finally, samadhi, absorption. You might be surprised by the fact that you can't actually practice samadhi. It's the state you arrive at through your practice of all 7 preceding angas. Each anga prepares you for the next, and after you reach the 7th anga, Dhyana, your practice will directly and effortlessly lead to the state of Samadhi if it's performed correctly. Omitting any of the preceding angas will halt your progress, like trying to climb a ladder with 1 or more missing rungs. So, your skillful and dedicated practice of the first 4 angas will prepare you for Pratyahara, sense withdrawal, where our discussion begins here. In ancient India, the senses were considered to be 6 in number, not 5. In addition to sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch, the mind was considered to be the 6th sense. So, in the practice of Pratyahara, your 5 senses together with your mind are to be withdrawn from any contact or involvement whatsoever with the world around you. In other words, Pratyahara requires the complete introversion of your attention, turning it away from the world and redirecting it within yourself. In the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, Pratyahara is compared to the behavior of a tortoise that pulls its head and limbs inside its shell. Its 4 legs and tail represent your 5 senses, and its head represents your mind. But there's a problem with this example. A tortoise can deliberately withdraw its limbs when it's threatened, but you and I can't deliberately withdraw our senses and minds from the outside world. If you think you can, then for the next 10 seconds, completely withdraw your power of hearing. If you can really do that, you wouldn't hear a word I'm saying right now. So then, how can we withdraw our senses and mind? Well, imagine a teenager who's deeply engrossed in playing his favorite video game. If you walk in the room and call his name, he probably won't answer. If you call his name again, he still might not answer. But when you finally shout at him, he's likely to turn around and say, "Oh, did you say something?" The first 2 times you called his name, the sound of your voice reached his ears, and yet he didn't hear you. He had indeed withdrawn his power of hearing, and that's Pratyahara. How did he do it? By concentrating his attention so intensely on playing the video game. The key to Pratyahara is concentrating your attention. Your power of attention is the ability to direct your mind to focus on whatever you choose. It's like using a flashlight, the kind that has an adjustable lens. If you twist the lens one way, the flashlight throws a very wide beam and illumines everything in front of you on a dark night. But if you twist the lens in the other direction, it casts a very narrow beam of light and illumines only a small spot. Everything else is plunged into darkness. Your power of attention works like that. For example, when you drive a car or ride a bicycle, your attention is like the wide flashlight beam. You're aware of what's happening all around you. But on the other hand, right now, as you watch this video, your attention is more narrowly focused, directed towards the screen in front of you. As a result, you're not particularly aware of everything around you in the room where you're sitting. So, Pratyahara is the direct result of narrowly concentrating your attention. When your concentration is so completely constricted that it's focused on a single point, a single vritti or mental event, that state is called Ekagrata, one-pointedness. Ekagrata is the goal of Dharana, concentration, which is the 6th of Patanjali's 8 angas. Pratyahara and Dharana are intimately related, like 2 sides of a coin. That's why Patanjali placed Dharana immediately after Pratyahara. Now, let's turn to Dharana. To twist the lens of a flashlight is easy, but the fact is, most people find that to firmly fix their attention on a single point or vritti is not so easy. The mind must be thoroughly trained to gain this skill, the ability to remain narrowly focused or concentrated. But concentrated on what exactly? The object on which you choose to focus or concentrate is called alambana by Patanjali. Alambana literally means something you hang on to. Here, it means something you fix your attention on. Training your mind to remain concentrated on an alambana is actually quite simple in principle, but it's usually painstaking in practice. Basically, every time your attention wanders away from the alambana, you have to immediately bring it back. Again and again and again. That's how you develop the skill of concentration. Each time you bring your attention back, that skill grows stronger. But months or even years of practice might be required before your attention finally stops wandering. Now then, what kind of alambana should you concentrate on? There are many options. With your eyes open, you can concentrate your attention on a candle flame in a practice known as trataka. Or with your eyes closed, you can concentrate on a mental image, like a flame shining brightly in your heart and radiating throughout your body. Or you can visualize a yantra, a sacred geometric form that's rich with symbolism. Many Hindus like to visualize the form of their chosen deity, their Ishta Devata. Some might even imagine themselves standing inside a temple, praying to that deity, which has been magnificently established on an ornate altar. I like to imagine gazing into the dark blue vastness of the night sky, filled with countless stars. When you first try to visualize any kind of mental image, it might seem difficult. But if you persist, you're likely to find that your chosen alambana becomes increasingly clear and vivid with continued practice. Another kind of alambana that's commonly used is to focus on a particular point on your body or inside it. For example, in the practice of Kundalini Yoga, you have to concentrate your attention on various energy centers known as chakras that are said to be located along the length of your spine. A more common practice is to concentrate on the point between your eyebrows. This point is not the same as the so-called third eye or Ajna chakra of Kundalini Yoga. That chakra is actually located behind your eyes, whereas this point, which is simply known as Bhru Madhya, is on the skin between your eyebrows. I practiced this particular technique for many years. In the 1980s, I received an initiation from a direct disciple of Shiva Bala Yogi, who pressed his thumbnail sharply into my forehead and instructed me to meditate on that point. I found this technique very useful at first, but after several years, a peculiar problem arose. My concentration on that point had grown so intense that my eyes involuntarily strained to turn towards that point, like looking at the tip of your nose. Eventually, the eye strain became so bad that I developed a headache every time I meditated. Even though I tried to relax all the muscles around my eyes, over the years, those muscles had acquired a deeply rooted habit that I simply couldn't overcome. Eventually, I had to abandon that technique altogether. To concentrate your attention on any point in your body can lead to a variety of problems. Over the years, many meditators have asked me how to deal with strange physical sensations that arise inside their bodies during meditation. Sensations like heat, vibrations, throbbing, and so on. Sensations like these can be very distracting. And in Patanjali's system of meditation, they're actually obstacles to attaining Samadhi. Unfortunately, some meditators find their attention strongly attracted to such sensations, which actually makes the sensations grow even more intense. Psychologists explain this problem as being the result of a mental phenomenon called autosuggestion. Some people are highly susceptible to autosuggestion, whereas many are not. It's possible that autosuggestion might be responsible for many of the strange physical sensations experienced by practitioners of Kundalini Yoga. According to Patanjali, through the practice of Pratyahara, sense withdrawal, your attention should be completely withdrawn from your body. For this reason, it's usually best to choose an alambana that's not associated with your body. An alternative that's widely used and extremely effective is to choose a sacred mantra as your alambana. In meditation, you can repeat a mantra like Om Namah Shivaya or Om Namo Narayanaya in a number of ways. So this practice can be adapted to your individual preferences. For example, you can recite a mantra silently, or you can begin by chanting it aloud and then gradually shift to purely mental repetition. You can concentrate your attention on the meaning of the mantra, or you can concentrate on the deity to whom the mantra is addressed. You can also concentrate your attention on the sound of the mantra, or even on the gap of silence in between repetitions. This last technique is especially powerful. We'll discuss it in the final part of this series. Personally, I found that to combine silent recitation of a mantra with certain pranayama techniques is especially effective. You can continue to practice pranayama throughout each session, just like you continue to practice asana to maintain proper posture. Fortunately, the practice of pranayama soon becomes automatic and effortless, so it's easy to maintain while you simultaneously practice other techniques. Next, we come to Dhyana, meditation, the seventh of Patanjali's 8 angas. Dhyana is crucial because it's the actual practice that directly leads to the state of Samadhi. Whereas Dharana trains your mind to concentrate with single-pointed attention on your alambana, your chosen object, Dhyana prepares your mind to go beyond that alambana and rest in perfect silence. That is, Dhyana leads to the complete absence of all mental activities, the complete restraint of all mental chatter, all vrittis. A lot of mental chatter is in the form of words. It's called verbal thinking. Human beings are extremely verbal creatures. Throughout each day, we're almost constantly engaged in conversation with others, in person, on the phone, or in emails, texts, and even tweets. Not only that, much of the entertainment we enjoy is highly verbal, like television programs, movies, and songs. For this reason, it's no surprise that so much of our thinking is in the form of words. You might not even be aware of it because it seems normal. But in meditation, when the constant stream of words in your mind suddenly comes to a complete stop, Its absence is striking. The cessation of verbal thinking feels like the blissful silence you might feel when a nearby television that's been blaring loudly for several hours is suddenly turned off. So, how can you restrain verbal thinking and other kinds of mental chatter? Well, the powerful current of thoughts that flows in your mind is like the flow of a mighty river. It's difficult to bring to an abrupt stop. For this reason, Patanjali uses a much more nuanced approach. Instead of trying to abruptly stop the flow of thoughts, he instructs you to redirect that flow. Specifically, to redirect it towards your alambana. For example, suppose your alambana is the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. Each mental repetition of the mantra is immediately followed by another. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. This repetition leaves no space, no opportunity for any other words to arise. In this way, a powerful current of verbal thoughts can be replaced with a steady, uninterrupted flow of mantras. According to Patanjali, this uninterrupted flow of mantras is the state of Dhyana. He says, Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. Tatra, there, directed towards your alambana, the ekatanata, the single-pointed, uninterrupted flow of pratyayas, of mantras or vrittis. That is the practice of dhyanam, meditation. Note that Patanjali doesn't define dhyana as a state of silence or mental stillness. When practicing dhyana using a mantra, your mind is still full of thoughts, verbal thoughts in the form of your mantra. But a steady, uninterrupted flow of mantras is utterly unlike the verbal chatter that usually occupies your mind. Commentators on Patanjali Sutras describe the state of dhyana to be like a stream of oil that's slowly and steadily poured out of a vessel. The oil forms a delicate, unwavering ribbon of liquid that looks like it's frozen in space. Even though oil is constantly flowing, the stream looks perfectly still because the flow of oil is so uniform. In the same way, the perfectly uniform flow of mantras in your mind gives rise to an experience of deep stillness. That's how the mind works. For example, when you first enter a room with a clock on the wall that ticks loudly, you immediately notice its sound. But after a while, the ticking sound seems to fade away. In fact, it fades away into silence because of its perfect uniformity. Modern neuroscience can explain in detail how this happens. But Patanjali and other rishis didn't need neuroscience to recognize this mental phenomenon and use it in the practice of meditation. The perfectly uniform flow of mantras in the practice of dhyana is also related to another important mental phenomenon. When the repetition of a mantra becomes sufficient sufficiently well established in your mind, then each successive mantra will arise spontaneously, automatically, without any effort whatsoever. This state of effortlessness is crucial for attaining samadhi because effort itself is an obstacle to samadhi. In the final part of this series, we'll see how your effortless practice of dhyana can eventually lead you to attain the state of samadhi.